Welcome to step one in your first buyer transaction, and that is choosing an agent. One of the most important steps that often goes overlooked. When I was going to real estate school, I learned some crazy stats. There's the typical stats when it comes to an agent where you probably won't get your first paycheck for around 7 months. That's the industry average. But the one that shocked me the most is 85% of agents will fail out of this industry. And that is a scary statistic if you're buying your first home.
I'm so fucking scared right now.
Because if this is the biggest transaction you'll ever make, every single dollar should count. Now, last year was a rough year for a lot of agents. Arizona specifically, there was around 36,000 agents that did not sell a single home. Now, not to knock on them, but is that someone you want to choose to pick the biggest financial purchase you'll ever make? When it comes to agents, you got the agents that do take it very, very seriously, the ones that educate themselves further, the ones that get the designations past just a regular sales agent. Then you got regular full-time agents, you got part-time agents, you got the agents that go get licensed because their aunt made money last year. And those are the ones you want to stay away from, the ones that do not take this job seriously. And I'm not trying to knock any new agent because there's a lot of new agents to this industry who took it very seriously. When I first started, I went to every continuing education class I could go to. I was on a team that was a top 1% producing team in Arizona. So a lot of the stuff I learned actually throughout the transaction. It's not to say that if you have a friend that just started that they're not good for you. Are they on a team? If someone you know is on a team, they always have that backup. Are they part of a strong brokerage? Do they have a mentor? Experience isn't necessarily the key factor in choosing an agent. If you do know someone, you feel comfortable with them, and they have the education and they have the team backing them, they have a strong brokerage backing them, it is no problem to use somebody like that either. Now, what you should be looking for in an agent, in my opinion, is something you should be looking for in an agent. One is you want an agent that is full-time. Two, you want an agent that does a lot of transactions and not just your typical buying, selling transactions. You want to learn how to further use your money or use the equity you're going to eventually have in your home. Choose an agent that has a background in the investment side. To get a broker's license in Arizona, that means you must be at least 3 years in the industry, and you're pretty much going to school all over again. It's another 90 hours worth of courses, 2 more tests you have to pass, and then on top of that, you have to take broker management courses. So someone that's in the industry that's a broker might be better suited for you because they have a little bit more education behind the craft. If you were to interview me to say, hey, I wonder if Justin's going to be a good buyer's agent for me, one of the key points that I will touch on is my negotiation skills. That is something in a transaction that's going to save you thousands of dollars. Can your agent negotiate properly on your behalf? And when I say properly, that means you need to know when you have leverage and when you don't have leverage. Because if I don't have leverage, the last thing I need is for my client to lose on that house because we simply don't have leverage. There are tons of ways you can work around that. But if your agent does not have strong negotiation skills, there's a lot of steps throughout the transaction where you can save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I look at a transaction in almost 3 steps. We got the initial offer, the inspection, and the appraisal, because these are the 3 things that are going to cost you money. If the appraisal doesn't come in at value, do you have to come out of pocket? If the house needs a new roof, are you going to be responsible for that, or are we going to get the seller? What if there's multiple offers on a house? You need to have an agent who can foresee these problems and can pivot when something gets thrown in the mix. Now, when it comes to qualifications that your agent should have, you might want to have references available or referrals from past people. Do you know someone that's in the same field as you? Do you know someone that's bought a home in the neighborhood you want to buy in or the same price point? But if you don't know an agent in that area, talk to the people around that you know.
King Bob!
Now, when it comes to the actual trait of the agent, communication is one of the biggest things that a lot of clients have complained about with their agent, saying there's not a lot of communication. So communication is one of the key factors when it comes to a trait to look for in the agent. Are they even going to know what they're talking about? Are they going to be highlighting the things that I need to know in my transaction? If you can't call up your agent and text them and get a response within an hour, because this is a stressful process. Buying a home brings out a lot of emotions and a lot of stress. Your agent needs to be that calm middleman in between that. One of the biggest things I tell all my clients is that, hey, I am that emotionless piece in your transaction where I can sit here and point out the hard truths of the home, of the transaction, of their situation. A lot of agents won't do that. They just want to get the deal closed. An agent will have this kind of attitude. We are never going to make a career off of your one sale. We need your referrals. And I need you to grow this into a career. So if I just sold you one home, great, I collected my paycheck and go home.
Finally!
That's not going to get me longevity in this career.
What?
I need everyone you know. I need you to be a steward of my business where you are telling everyone the experience you had with me.
I know him, y'all. I know him.
That's the type of attitude an agent that you pick should have.